Hello, welcome. My name is Godfrey, and in this video, I will introduce to you what is HTML, which is the foundation of website we see on the internet. So, if you are a complete beginner or new to web development, don't worry. This tutorial is designed especially for beginner, and I will guide you step by step. In this lesson, you will learn what is HTML and why is HTML important. I will also explain how website works at a basic level and also how to download and install Visual Studio Code, which is a code editor where we'll be writing all our HTML code. You will also create your first HTML project folder. Then you will also open the folder inside the VS Code or the Visual Studio Code and start writing your code. You don't need any coding experience to follow along. All you need is to stay focused and practice as we go. By the end of the video, you have a development environment ready and fully set up to write your first HTML code. So what is then a HTML? HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. So HTML is the structure of our website. It's also the foundation of all web pages. It is used to display text, images, links, video, and many more on our website. We can think of HTML also as a skeleton in the human body. Without it, nothing stands. Every website you visit, Google, Temu, Jumia, all start with HTML. Even the most advanced site depend on this for their foundation. So tools we'll be using for this tutorial, we need the computer. It could be Windows, it could be Mac, it could be Linux. We need a web browser, which I will recommend Chrome, and a Visual Studio Code or a VS Code. Why VS Code? Because number one is industrial standard, is free and lightweight, and is used by most professional developers. So we'll be using same code editor that those professional developers at tech companies are using every day. So the next step is to head on to our browser and download VS Code or Visual Studio Code. So this is our browser. We'll type code.visualstudio.com and press enter key. Once it's finished loading, as you can see, this open source AI code editor. So I'm using a window. That is why I now recommend download for window. So I'll click and wait for it to download. As you can see, it's already downloading. So when you finish downloading, you install using a default setting. But as for me, I have a VS Code already, so I'll stop downloading. This is my Visual Studio Code on my desktop. But if you encounter any issue or any difficulty in downloading and installing, you can comment below and I'll be there to give you prompt response. So our next step is to create a project folder, because every website you see starts with a folder. So head on to our desktop. So this is my desktop. I'll right click. I'll come to new. I'll go to folder and click. My folder is already created. The next step is to rename the folder. I'll rename my own my dash website. You can name it anything you want. One thing you need to watch out for is make sure there is no space in between the name. One step to open the folder is right click, open with code, click and wait for it to load. I'll click and wait. So as you can see, we have our visual code open already. And if that method doesn't work for you, you can right click on the Visual Studio Code, open. Once you open, click on open folder, click, wait for it to load. After loading, then I save my own on our desktop. I'll go to my desktop, I'll look for my folder, I'll look for the folder, That's my list, my folder. I'll click, I'll open the folder and wait, it will open. So eventually my web page has opened. So I will now close the welcome message. So the next thing I will do is to open my own file, right? So this I will click, this is new file. I'll click on it and name my working file, which is index.html. I'll press enter key and wait to load. So my ID is already open. That is my development environment. So the next thing I will do is to generate HTML boilerplate, which I will press shift and my exclamation mark, which is 1, and I will wait for it to load again. So after loading, I'll select the first option and I'll press enter key. So this is our HTML boilerplate. So in naming your file, make sure it ends with HTML. For instance, if I want to implement about us page, I can name it about.html. If it contact us, it's contact.html. Make sure it ends .html. So this is our development environment. So the first thing we're going to do, our first line of code, we'll start with what we call a HTML tag. So my first HTML tag I'm going to use, I will use a heading tag, which is h1, which is I can give it welcome, the basics of web development. Then I will save. After saving, I now right click and now open with live server. We have our website display on our browser. So today we took our first step into web development. So everything you see online is now something we can all build together, right? But then in case you not seen live server on your VS Code because you do not have the live server extension installed yet. So what you do, you click this extension icon, right? Which you click, you now type live server. Then the first, this is the live server by Day. You click because I have it installed already in my system. So you click and install. After clicking and installing, then you go back, right click, then open with live server. It should be displayed on your web browser. And don't forget to save before opening with live server. So in our next lesson, we'll discuss the HTML boilerplate, the doc type, the HTML lang, the head, the meta, everything. We'll discuss the whole boilerplate in the next lesson. We also discuss HTML elements and tag, and we also discuss images and links, discuss list and table, form, and I'll also introduce you to CSS. And we also build our first portfolio website together. So make sure to like and subscribe to the channel and stay tuned.